Hello and welcome to another Trailblazers we love. Today I'm really excited to have the chance to talk to David Small Hoover, a colleague of mine and just overall great fellow. David, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Looking forward to your insights. Have you seen any of these before?
Oh yeah, they're pretty good. They're streamlined and I get to know people that I might not know before, so I do appreciate them. So it's an honor to be on one.
Well, great. Well, the honor is ours. So you know the format. We'll ask you a couple questions, but we always start with how did you get started in the Salesforce ecosystem? What brought you here today?
In my previous career, I spent a decade in the coffee industry. I've owned coffee shops and ran coffee roasteries. And so the previous job was roasting operations manager, and we were looking for a way to streamline how we were doing sales and also operations within, so handling orders, things of that nature. So we were vetting which software to implement, and it turns out it was Salesforce. And I took it upon myself to implement that. Not, well, we had the consultants. I didn't really actually do the implementation. I was the champion of the Salesforce at that organization. And I started to dive a lot more into it and realize how easy it is for somebody new to like learn how to operate, how to work in Salesforce. And so that was really interesting to me and caught the bug that way. And so from that, I actually made a career change and went to a coding boot camp in Pittsburgh. And that's how I met Jared, who's on our team. Jared also went to the coding boot camp. They were like a partner with the coding boot camp. And so that's how I ended up at Cloud Option Solutions.
Yeah, well, we're really glad that you ended up here. And, it's always great getting excellent feedback from our clients about you. And it is just so interesting, whether it's Jared and coming from, I think he was an electrician or, I came from a different industry and I'm talking to people that came from, anything from nursing to the military. So all of us get pulled into this, wonderful ecosystem. You mentioned that you went to a coding boot camp. So I guess that's one way that you learn some of these things, but particularly for Salesforce, is there any like resources that were particularly helpful to you or that you would recommend to others that are looking to do what you've done?
Yeah, I mean, like the common answer is Trailhead, obviously. You learn a lot from that, and I read a lot of Salesforce Ben articles at the same time. Um, and just I would recommend doing the actual work into a dev org. So Salesforce gives you the opportunity to just test out, build stuff in developer orgs, which was super beneficial to increasing my like learning curve, I guess.
Sometimes the best answer is the obvious one, so I obviously appreciate that. And for somebody that's kind of trepidatious about getting started in the ecosystem, the fact that Salesforce themselves provides that as a resource, I think is really awesome. And also the gamification of it. And we're a consultancy partner company, obviously. We work with a great number of clouds. I think most people are using Sales Cloud, but are there some other Salesforce products or items that you think are underrated that more people should know about?
Yeah, I don't want to call it underrated, but I don't know if enough people know about it is open source commons, which is salesforce.org's like open source platform. And so there's a number of different applications that admins can use and download onto their Salesforce org that are completely free and open source. The most popular one is the declarative lookup rollup summary package, which for short is Dolores. I use it as often as possible, pretty much. It saves so much time in regards to if you're wanting to roll up things that aren't master detail relationships. You can do a whole lot of things. Like you can just do a regular like count these amount of records through a lookup, but you can also concatenate things. I just did that with an org, and they were really wowed by it and loved it. But really, it was just like a couple of clicks of a button. All thanks to this community of open source collaborators that built this tool, but along with many others.
And for the folks at home that might be not as technical as you are, What are the benefits of it being open source? Just that you can kind of see what it is, or
Yeah, nothing's really hidden from you. Some you're allowed to get the code and manipulate it as you want to make it fit yours, where there's some like managed packages where companies sell the managed package. So obviously they don't want to open up
give
all that code to somebody because then they can just replicate it and destroy their business model pretty much. So that's why a lot of these open source ones are just a community of people building it. So they don't really have a stake in the
profit
game in regards
incentive?
to, right, yeah, which it's stuff that people actually want and actually want to build, I think is super powerful. And I love that community.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'll try to make sure that they put the details of how to find that open source platform because I think other people could get a lot of value out of it. And I'm really curious. We talk to admins all the time, obviously, but one thing that you have a advantage that not a lot of people have because you're not just working with one org, you're obviously working with dozens of orgs at a time, rather. So I'm really curious about your thoughts on a Salesforce prediction for 2025, or even looking out further than that, if you'd like. What do you think is going to be the next big shift in the Salesforce ecosystem?
It's another generic response, but I do think that they're going to purchase another, I think they're going to acquire another AI company to build up what they're currently doing. They bought one and then released Agent Force. So I think it's more of that to be continue to be leaders in this AI revolution.
Yeah, certainly we're living in interesting times. With regards to AI, how do you think that will affect admins, moving forward? Will they be still able to find work, or is it just that they'll be using these tools? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's mainly just you being able to understand and feed the machine, as it were, to be able to get what the outcome of like what a client wants. They might not be able to express it in terms of what the AI wants. So we'd be there doing, I would think, more configuration work where AI can do a lot of the manual repetitive tasks and things of that nature, maybe to free up admins to do more BA work with the client, actually build better solutions for what they want.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's such a useful perspective. I talked to some other people in like the staffing space, and they're also saying that like a lot of admins are kind of becoming more business analysts or systems analysts because companies want to see that you have adjacent technology knowledge, which you do, obviously.
Mm.
So thank you for that. If you've seen any of these before, you know that we always like to leave on a less serious note. I know you're an avid reader, so do you have any recommendations? It doesn't have to be a book, a podcast, a cooking show that you've been interested in. Recommendations for the fine folks at home listening.
Yeah, I do read a number of books. Most recent that I've really enjoyed was Deep Work by Cal Newport. He's written a number of books. I believe he's a professor at Georgetown. The book is kind of all about like being able to really dedicate time and focus effort. It is difficult, especially for somebody like me, to focus for a longer period of time. But as you start to build up that muscle, it does get easier. So it's a very useful book to be able to understand the benefits of deep focus work and how to do it as well. I wouldn't say that I'm a professional at it, but I'm trying.
I definitely go to you for all of my mental clarity and self-help recommendations.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, are you a French press or a filter guy? Is it a pour over? Are we doing Turkish
Yeah.
coffee, espresso? What's your go-to?
I think I've only had Turkish coffee one time. I'm sure you have it a lot more often. Mainly just pour over. It's so simple. Once you get like the recipe down, it's easy cleanup. Like I don't even think about it at this point. It's just like kind of on autopilot. Makes perfect 2 cup for me and my fiance. So that's my go-to.
All the people that know coffee best seem to be pour over people, so I might have to join the revolution, the AI and the pour over coffee revolution. So,
Maybe we can combine them into one company.
right,
That's
exactly. Now you're thinking. That's a billion
right.
dollar idea. Well, thanks for joining us today, David. I really appreciate it. I'm sure everybody else did too. Looking forward to talking to you soon.
Awesome, Sam. Thank you so much.